Hey guys, this is Nate and this is the Nader Tater channel. Today I'm going to talk about how I built a barrel train, and this is for my oldest daughter's 4th birthday party that's coming up in a couple weeks. I wanted to have something fun for them to do outside, so we're doing this barrel train. I'm making 6 cars. I have 3 of them done so far. I got 3 more to do. You can see I got the frames here. And so this framing is made out of 1-inch square tube, and then we have a couple axles made of 5/8 rod, and then we have the hitch that's made out of some 1/4-inch thick plate, and I'll kind of go through the details of how I built it, all the dimensions, and at the end we'll put some plans up there as well for you to reference. For the tires, I used Harbor Freight wheel and tire assemblies. You can use whatever is available to you. These are cheap. We had a coupon that makes them $3.99. I think normally they're $6.99. So these are really cheap for a wheel and tire assembly. I think they work fine for this barrel train. I did buy pre-made steering wheels. You can save a little bit of money if you make your own steering wheel out of metal, and you bend it in a circle. But overall, I think it's about 20 bucks of metal. Depends how easy it is for you to access a metal stockyard. The steering wheel was $12. Like I said, these wheels were $4 a piece, so that's $8 per train car. I did buy some metal protecting edging for where I cut out the hole in the barrel. I want to protect it so that it doesn't cut the kids. So this is like a car door trim, effectively, that I just bought on Amazon, and that seems to work well with this. You can see I started with just a standard 55-gallon metal barrel. I bought these off Facebook Marketplace used for 10 bucks a piece. These had mineral oil in them, so they're food grade. You do want to pay attention to that. I didn't want something that had some kind of toxic chemical in it. Even with the mineral oil, I did have to spend some time with engine degreaser to wipe it all down, get it out, wash it out, to get it clean enough. But they did clean up really nice, and they're painted on the inside, so they actually look like they're brand new barrels after I got done cleaning them up. And I did some little accessories like some eyes, and obviously spray painted them. But for the seats, I just used, for me, I used treated lumber. You obviously don't need treated. It was only a couple bucks more, and I figured it was worth it. I only had to buy one. This is a 2x10 by 8 foot. It's about 22 inches long, so you can make 4 of them out of one 8-foot panel. For my styles, I have 2 styles. One is a single cutout, like the yellow and the purple one. And then the pink one is a double cutout, so the kids are in tandem. And I did that so that I can make it for the smaller kids. My youngest daughter is 18 months old, and that one actually has a little seat belt in it. So I bought some little straps, and I strapped that through the back side, so that allows me to buckle her in so she doesn't get up and fall out. And so for those, I used 2x6. Now I already had these laying around. So these are just 2x6s that are cut to the same length, 22 inches, and I'll go into detail of that later on. So that makes up the seat. That's pretty much all there is to it. You make the frame, you weld the barrel on top of it, I do the edging, the steering wheel. I might add a horn or a bell or something else to keep them entertained. But let me go through the details of actually how I built it and the dimensions, so you can build your own. Okay, so here's a cardboard piece, and this is to make a template to come up with a shape to cut out on top of the barrel. So for this, I'm using a little bit of the experience of some other people on there, specifically Do Right Fabrication. He's on YouTube, and he gave some dimensions out of 21 inches front to back. So from this edge to this, that's how long it is, and then the width. So this would be curving around. The circumference of the barrel is 13 inches either side, so 26 inches total in width here. And then he didn't give any information about the corners, but just looking at it and grabbing something that I'm doing on this project for a radius. This is a 10-inch wheel, so I just put that and lined that up, and that's how I drew my radius for here, and it looks about right. I did do a little radius down here as well, and that's actually for the edging that I'm going to use. If I have a sharp corner, it's going to be harder to put this edging on, so I just gave it a little edging there. So I'll cut this out, then I'll be able to put this on top of the barrel and trace it, and I'll use that for all the barrels so I have a consistent cutout. Okay, now I have a barrel. This is a 55-gallon, it's a steel barrel that I found on Facebook Marketplace for $10. I had several of them actually, but so this one has two screw off, or one screw off tap and one peel off cap. And I have those set up so they're straight up and down. And then I marked a reference for where that's at. I'm using that as my center line. So I have a line here. Here's the template that I cut out. Again, it's 21 inches this way, and then it's 26 inches curved around. So now it's time to take the plasma cutter and cut that out. Okay, here we go to cut it out. Okay, so now I'm going to clean these guys up a little bit. They have a little bit of slag on them from cutting them. Okay, those are cleaned up now. And okay, now, so for the axles, we'll slide the wheel on, and then we'll put a washer, and then we'll put a cotter pin through the axle, and that's what the washer would rest up against, and that will keep the wheel from walking off and falling off the cart. So now we need to drill a hole. So this is going to be a 3/16 hole, and I'm putting it basically almost as close as I can get to the edge and still have enough material to not drill through the outside edge. So that's what we'll do now. Okay, so there we go. So that's one down, and we're just gonna do the other side. That's good. So now I have basically the shorter member, the 20-inch, and this is the one that we're going to weld the axle, the 5/8 inch rod inside. So to do that, the easiest way is to do plug welds on the inside, and then you weld the outside. That way you get two places, so you're not trying to break off just the outside. So for this, measured from the outside edge in 3 inches on both sides. You can see the two dots here, and then I rotated it 90 degrees and did that again, and that's so that we weld two sides of the round rod. And so you could drill those out with the drill press. Honestly, it's easier for me to just take the plasma cutter and zip out a couple circles. It doesn't matter if they're round or square or ovals. They're going to be plug welds, so the weld will clean up kind of unevenness. So now I'm just going to take the plasma cutter and make 4 sort of circles in here to cut out. Okay, so that's much quicker than drilling. You can see they're not perfect circles by any means, but only takes a couple seconds. So here is the wheel and tire. Here's the 5/8 rod, and so you can see this this hub basically has a little bearing in there that spins around. So this 5/8 fits perfectly in there, and I went ahead and marked and measured. So it's basically 2 3/4 inches from the edge is how long I need sticking out of this square tube, so I have enough room for the wheel. So if I slide this back in here so that the orange just shows up there, you can see that gives me enough room for a washer, and then the little pin that goes through that in hole, so that it all stays on there. So that that tells me that I need the rest of this obviously to go into here like this, and that's where I'll get my 2 plug welds through the holes I just made with the plasma cutter. So that's what we'll do. Okay, so now I have all my pieces cut and I have the holes drilled. So this main frame here is 49.5 inches long. The cross member is 20 inches long. Here's my 1/4 inch by 1.5 inch wide plate with the 1/2 inch hole drilled in the center. 2 of them go up at the front, and they do, you know, half of them stick out and half of them go over, so 2.5 inches stick out. And then in the rear, I have just one of them, and it's going on the top side like that. And what that will do is, once these are welded up and I go front to back, the rear one will be right in the middle of the other 2. And the reason I did this versus just having this, you know, the other option is to take a square, or leave the square tube and do a round hole through it. And if you do that, the problem is there's no slop, and you actually want the slop, because as you go over different terrain, the front and the rear are going to want to pivot between the trains. So I was afraid that if I left it like this, without any kind of, you know, obviously it can turn left and right, but it doesn't have any up-down slop. And so if you look at like a mower or something, they would typically have something more like this, and then there's a gap, and you make the, you know, the pin has enough slop in there that it can wiggle a little bit up and down. So that's what I'm going to do. Some others have not done that. And then the last pieces I have here are these little standoffs, and these will go on the axle, and I'll place these once I have the barrel in place, and I'll just slide these in to get them to fit correctly, and then weld them in place. For the angle, you'll have to play with it. These are about 3 inches tall on the long end, and when it's 3 inches tall, for me, it's about a 30-degree angle is what seems to made up to the barrel. So let me get these lined up. For the crossbar, I'm going from the rear of the main tube forward 9 inches, and that'll be the back edge of this guy. So, you know, if I line this up, obviously you want to make sure it's square with everything. And so these guys, I'm having these on the bottom. So I have these, you know, I have the center of this cross member marked, and then I have that marked. And oh, I'm putting the main tube on top. I thought it looked a little bit weird. So I have a scrap piece here to space this one so that this guy's all flat. I'll get this lined up, and then we'll use our square to make sure that we are all aligned here and nothing is cattywampus. That is a word, by the way. Okay, So that's all. First I'm gonna do some tacks there, and then we'll get going. Okay, so now I have that guy welded. I'll weld the bottom side next or later. So I'm going to take this top piece here, put this on. Let me get it lined up. So I have the marked here for 2.5 inches. So it's a 5-inch long piece. So it means half of it's sticking out. And what I like about projects like this is that it doesn't have to be exact. I mean, the key thing here is obviously this pin goes in, but if it's sticking out a little bit more, a little bit less, it doesn't really matter. Alright, so that's in there, so I'll tack this in a few more places here. That's all good there. Now I can tack this rear one in if I wanted to. Okay, so that guy's good. Okay, now that it's flipped over, I will go ahead and weld the bottom side of it. Alright, make sure that pin still fits after all that welding. It does. Okay. Now it's time for these axles. Okay, so for the axles, if you drill the hole close to the edge, you basically want just under 3 inches, so 2 3/4 or 2 7/8 actually sticking out of the tube. So I'm going to mark these at 2 7/8, and I know I want to see that line as I put them in. So that's what I'll do. So now I have my my plug welds, so I'm going to do those, and then I'm also going to do the ends of them. So one point I'll make is the frames are all the same for 5 of the 6 carts. The 6th one is the purple one. That's the lead cart. You can see how much longer its frame is, and as well it has that hook in it that offsets the trailer hitch by about 6 inches. So now I'm doing the first cart, and for the first cart I'm going to make basically the main frame longer, and the point of that is to get the barrel further away from the ATV or the car that I'm pulling it with, and also I need the trailer hitch to be up higher. The trailer hitch on the carts are about 6 inches off the ground, and I found about the right number is about a foot off the ground for ATV or Razor or a small car like I have a Chevy Spark. And then that allows me to put like a standard 2-inch drop hitch either upside down so it's higher, or drop it so that it's lower. That gets me in the right ballpark. At 6 inches off the ground, it's too low for pretty much anything. For me, I'm gonna do about a 6-inch offset. So to do that, I guess to remember, the main frame on the standard ones are 49.5 inches long, I think. For this one, I made it 6 feet until my first mark, and then I went another 8.5 inches to my second mark, and I'm cutting 45-degree cuts out of that. So total length of this bar is 7 feet. And then you'll see here what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend it up this way, and then bend it that way with 2 45s with an 8.5 inch hypotenuse. That gives you a 6-inch leg on each of the sides of the right triangle. So let me bend this real fast, and then we will show you what it looks like. So if I did it right, this would be 2 45s, and then this guy will now be back parallel to this. So I'll adjust it to get it just right, and then I'll weld it. And as you can see, what I did is I cut through all but one side of the tube, and that allowed me to keep it together. It just makes it easier for welding, because you can bend it in place and it holds itself, and then you just weld it up to make it clean. So that's what I'm gonna do now. You get the seat in there. Like I said, it's just under 22 inches long, and I have the beveled edges on it. So now to attach it, in here, I'm not quite level, so I'm using this as a reference to see how far off I am, and then I'm matching that with a smaller level. Once I do that, I've marked this side and this side. Now I will take out the piece of wood, and I have my reference mark here. So now with that reference mark, I'm going to go in, I'm going to drill a couple holes here, and then that way I'll be able to go from the outside in and make sure I hit the wood. That's the easiest way I found to mark this without trying to measure or guess exactly how high up the sidewall you are. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to drill and then use some wood screws and attach it. To attach it, I'm just using 2.5 inch deck screws. It doesn't take a lot of load as far as tightening. You just need it for the shear, so they don't have to be really tight. You could add washers, but these I'm just going to throw in through the side once I have my board lined up with my marks I made. Okay, there we go. So just to kind of show you, so I'm 5'6", not exactly a giant, but a full adult can fit in there now. So the thing here is your knees will hit, and that's where I want to make the dash as small as I could. That way, as the kids get older, they could still fit in here, because I think I'd have a rough time. But Okay, so for this next part, I'm going to make the dash. So it's just kind of a 3/4 inch plywood. What I did, I took one of my cutout sections, and you know where this is going to go is right in front of them, and I'm going to mount the steering wheel to it. So I just use this cut piece as a reference. So I put this down like this, and then I trace the inside line here to get a dash size. And so I just kind of went by what I thought looked about right. I want it as small as I can because it affects like your ability to get in and out. So I made it just about 2 inches tall, and then total length is right at 13. So 2 inches by 13, and it follows the size of the barrel. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that cut out. All right, there we go. Okay, so this is where that dashboard is going to go, and so I'll just measure it and make sure it's centered. That gives me something to attach the steering wheel to. So I have the tandem one set up with the steering wheels and all the protective stuff for the edge. Now I'm going to do the steering wheel for this guy. I just have my small little dashboard here, and I can just check it real fast, get it level on here. And I'm just going to slide it back a little bit from the edge so that it so I can put my rubber strip over this edge. So I'm just putting 2 screws in. So I'll go ahead and pre-drill the metal, since it's hard to get the wood screws through the metal. Okay. Now for this one I have 1 5/8 inch screws, so these are obviously shorter, so they don't stick through the dash. Alright, so now I got the dash screwed in. Now I'm gonna drill a hole for my steering wheel. Now it came with the hardware, so it has a little carriage bolt here. So I need to put a washer in there. Carriage bolt, washer, and then there's a spacer, little kind of bushing for it to spin on. Alright, so just get it kind of snug. That's good. There's that. Now I'm going to put the rubber strip around it. Now this edge is all just from the plasma cutter. So I bought this, it's like door trim protector for a car door, is how it's listed, at least on Amazon. Now I'm just going to put that right on this plasma cut edge. I didn't even grind it or sand it. I knew I was going to put this trim on it. And it really doesn't matter that it's not perfectly straight. This will straighten it up. Okay, so now got all the edging on, and I didn't put any glue or adhesive. I just pushed it on, and it kind of has little grabbers to keep it from coming off. So this one's all set. So now kind of the last thing I'm going to do is drill a couple drain holes in it. So this is the back side. I think I'm going to do just 2 back here for now and not put any up front, and the seat will hide these holes. So that's my plan. I'm just going to drill 2 3/4 inch or so holes in here. Okay, I'll do a little touch up there with paint, and then this guy's all set. Okay, so I'm gonna finish up my other 3 cars after this, and I'll get them all set up together. I'll get video and some other things, probably some drone video of the kids going around the train ride. So Feel free to subscribe if you want to see some more videos about this train car and other projects that I do around the house.